Shadowverse.
Greetings, I'm Shad, and it turns out there's a good number of you asking what my next book will be, and more specifically, if I'm going to be writing a sequel to my novel, Shadow of the Conqueror. And there's actually a little bit more to that question than you might realize, which is why I'm making a video on it now, and also a bit of an announcement on some really cool things I am working on. And so, to answer the first question, yes, there will be a sequel to Shadow of the Conqueror. It was written as a standalone, more so, with sequel potential, but I always felt that I would revisit it, and in some comments people asked me if I'm even working on it, and I have begun work on it, but that's not to say it's actually going to be my next book. But also an olive branch to those people really dying for a sequel to Shadow of the Conqueror. And so you're not going to be left in the lurch. You shall not be left with no Shadow of the Conqueror stuff. Because I do have a rather cool announcement regarding this. I'm making a graphic novel, baby, of Shadow of the Conqueror. Like seriously, and when I say I'm making a graphic novel, this isn't just like going to be a rough kind of, adaptation. Like, no. I'm working with one of the best comic book artists you can find. It is a pro, okay? An industry veteran. He's worked with DC, Marvel, and everything. Did the Injustice, Gods Among Us comic books, and one of my favorite graphic novels of all time. It's the artist who did The Hedge Knight, baby, okay? Mike S. Miller. And have a look at some of this art. This is just phenomenal stuff. I mean, check it out, right? Actually, let's go to one of his splash pages. Take a look at that. Mike is an amazing artist, and in my opinion, the work that he's been doing for the Shadow of the Conqueror graphic novel is even better than the stuff, and the stuff in here is just brilliant. And you might have this actually used to be, on featured on my thing in a place of honor before my own novel needed to go where The Hedge Knight was featured. So, in case you're wondering, The Hedge Knight is the graphic novel adaptation to the prequel series of A Song of Ice and Fire. If that sounds familiar, that's a Game of Thrones, okay? Do you see the person's name at the top of this? George R.R. Martin. This is the, graphic novel adaptation of George R.R. Martin, Hedge Knight, and, of course, Mike S. Miller, the artist, did The Swan Sword as well as the third volume, which I don't have. It's a crying shame. I need to get my hands on that. But, look at the art. Look how incredible. This is just beautiful stuff. And here's the artist who is doing the Shadow of the Conqueror graphic novel. It is looking amazing. Very, very cool. So how's the adaptation going to work? Because, of course, novel is much bigger than a graphic novel. We are going to split it into 4 parts, okay? And if you're worried that you're not going to get much story in the first one, no. You see, by actually, splitting into 4 parts, that's given us the opportunity to even add a little bit extra in. And so the first volume of the Shadow of the Conqueror graphic novel actually introduces 2 characters that aren't in the book. One of the characters is actually a very prominent and significant character that will be in the sequel, and the other one is a new character adding some additional content, okay, that you don't get in the novel. Really, really cool, and that is coming. So it's going to be launched on Indiegogo with an actual launch campaign, and it'll be a good couple of months where you'll be able to sign up and get it. So just to let you know, the graphic novel, the artwork is almost completed. At recording this, there's only 8 more pages left to go. So this isn't going to be the type of thing where I'm launching a Kickstarter and nothing's made and you have to wait for years upon years. No. We're actually aiming for, to have the graphic novel get in people's hands by June of next year. The launch campaign is going to be about November. That's where we're going to get it started, all right? So you'll get an opportunity to get your hands on the Shadow of the Conqueror graphic novel, and it is proper legit, okay? This is as professional level quality you could possibly make in terms of graphic novel, because if I was going to make something, I was going to make something the best quality I could possibly produce, and with working with Mike, this thing is legit. it looks so good. Also, just to let you know, Mike has his own YouTube channel where he does regular live streams showing him creating this amazing art. In fact, he has live streamed some of the inking of the art for the Shadow of the Conqueror graphic novel. So go check him out if you want to see him at work. I'll put a link in the description and a card in the top right corner. There is some awesome, Everfall, stuff to get your hands on while you wait for the sequel. You can sign up on the Indiegogo campaign for Shadow of the Conqueror right now. Even though it's not launched, there should be a way to just sign up so you'll get the alert once it goes official, because there will be some special tiers, or the graphic novel to get some other things that will be only available to a limited number. I think we're going to try and do a special metal variant cover, like you actually get a version of the cover in metal, like this awesome, like wicked looking thing. But there's only going to be a certain number of those available. So if you want to get some of these really awesome special collector kind of items, you do need to get in early. So sign up to the Indiegogo campaign if you don't want to miss out. And of course, I'll be doing a proper launch video showing some of the more of the art, but also talking about the adaptation process, what it's been like, what will like the nature in terms of the story, what we've been able to put, because there's actually a really cool solid arc in this first volume that we've been able to make. And remember, it will be 4 volumes, so you're not getting the whole Shadow of the Conqueror story. This is volume 1, but volume 1 will have a very distinct arc to fully enjoy as a self-contained story. So that's going to be all there and really brilliant, enjoyable. So do sign up to the Indiegogo campaign. It's not actually launched yet. It'll be the pre-launch campaign, so you don't miss out. All right, so what is my next book? Because, as I said, I have actually started the sequel to Shadow of the Conqueror, but as I mentioned, I always intended to let it rest for a bit, and at one point I thought, okay, no, my next book will be the sequel, but as I've looked at this other book, I've realized that, this is the next one. What is it? Well, something that was kind of surprised some people about my novel, Shadow of the Conqueror, is that it's actually not medieval fantasy. It's got swords, absolutely, but it actually isn't a medieval-based setting. It's closer to the Industrial Revolution, almost like a Regency steampunk fantasy period. So to let you know, this next book is my medieval fantasy, okay? Swords, castles, knights, the whole thing. There's a certain well-known castle on this channel. It's actually part of the banner of Shadowversity on the main YouTube channel. And you might know of it, Honor Guard? Well, this is the book with Honor Guard in, okay? This is my full-on medieval fantasy. And it's been so much fun to write so far. I'm making good progress on it, and that will be the next book. When I say it's medieval, it's like all the things everything I've talked about in terms of adapting medieval period, I got it in this one, okay? And it's also, it's different to Shadow of the Conqueror, where Shadow of the Conqueror, I purposely wanted to step outside of the box, like be original, different concepts, and also deal with some interesting themes and stuff, where this book is kind of my almost love letter to classics, okay? The classic hero's tale. But don't think that it's going to be kind of generic and samey, because it also is written in my own style with the flares that I particularly love, which is unique characters. I love dealing with awesome, interesting, fun characters, and this book has some great ones that I'm just really loving. And so I'm not going to reveal the title yet, mainly because I don't have the title. I did have a title, but for years, because this is actually a rewrite of the book I wrote before this one, Shadow of the Conqueror. But I always knew that it needed to be rewritten because, there was some things with it. But when I looked at it, I realized there is some good, solid stuff in there. Stuff that absolutely I could work with. And so that's why I'm rewriting it. And it's turning out brilliantly. I'm really excited for that one. And so I'm hoping this one will be available next year. Okay? That's my goal. I'm confident I'll be able to get it out. And I'm excited for you guys to receive it, because it's a lot of fun, this one. And that will be my next book. I won't reveal the title yet. The title is coming because, like I said, the original title actually was taken already. And because, when I picked it, I didn't actually do a search. So I need to come up with a better, hopefully as good at least title. And I'll reveal it later on, which will be easier once the book is done. And so that's what will be coming next. It'll be my full-on medieval fantasy novel. And then after that, I do intend to do the sequel of Shadow of the Conqueror. which, because as I mentioned, right, this book has actually a really solid arc to it, okay, and it ends in a very distinct place for the main character, a place that I always intended to let rest for a little bit. In actual fact, I intended to let it rest for longer, but I'm actually going to be going to the sequel sooner than what I anticipated, which will be after the book I'm currently working on, and that will be out. It's still going to be a couple of years down the track, so, you know, just let you guys know. But, like, as I mentioned, in the meantime, you'll get the graphic novel, so it's not like you're going to have nothing in the Chronicles of Everfall. So there we go, a bit of an update, a bit of a cool announcement, and also some stuff to look forward to in terms of what I am currently working on. I hope you're excited. I certainly am. I'm looking forward to it. And, of course, I hope to see you in the next video. So until then, farewell.